the lower part of the feet, I attacked by this stick which I took from the teacher. The beast looked stunned for a moment, then it shivered from the head to foot and collapsed. And for a moment, the beast, the elephant, looked so shocked and stunned for a moment, and then he started shivering, he started trembling from the head to the foot, and he just collapsed, he just fell down on the ground. At this point, Iswaran would leave the story unfinished, and at the same point, the Iswaran left the story and doing some other works. Actually, what happened? It is unbelievable. As he was studying, as the Iswaran was studying in the junior classes, as a very so young, a young person can control or can defeat an elephant who is totally mad. What do you think, my dear students? Do you really think that he was successfully controlled? Or so the cook Iswaran had left the story in the middle, and without disclosing that his what happened after that, when he just stick when he just attack on the elephant on his toe. After what happened after it, after clasping, after the fall of the elephant, what he did after that, what the reaction of people, what happened, his image in middle of his all the circle of his friends, his junior classes, senior classes, students, and what about the teachers. He just left all this matter and just went, and what he was saying, he and get up mumbling means whispering in a very low voice, I'll be back after lighting the gas and warming up the dinner. So I just let me on the stove so I can warm the dinner, the food. Mahendra, who had been listening with rapt attention would be left hanging. So he was just so passionately listening. The story was also remained at his own places. He was not moving here and there because he was so attached by the explanation, by the description of his story. When he returned, Iswaran would not pick up the thread of the story right away. Mahendra would have to remind him take the conclusion was pending. Now here, what happened when he returned back after completing the dinner, or when they had dinner, and after when they were sleeping time, that the Iswaran didn't speak any single word about his past story. What he was saying nothing. But the Mahendra was so tempting. Mahendra was so excited to get on the conclusion of the story. It was remained pending. Well, a veterinary doctor was summoned to revive the animal. Iswaran would shirts casually. 2 days later, it was led away by its mouth to the jungle. What happened? Well, a veterinary doctor means animal doctors, was summoned to revive the animals. Revive means control on the animal. So here, that Iswaran was called out by a veterinary doctor after a while, and Iswaran would shirts casually. Shirts means just move his shoulder upwards. Shirts his shoulder upwards, and in a casual way, okay, I'll go. 2 days later, it was led away by its mouth to the jungle. And now, after a while, and this that the elephant who was fall upon on the ground, it was taken back to his by his mouth to back to the jungle, to his timber yard. Well, how did you manage to do it, Iswaran? How did you bring down the beast? So the question was asked by the Mahendra, that how did you control on him? How did you manage all this stuff? It has something to do with the Japanese art, I think. Now here, what was his response to this question? The Iswaran told that it happened just because of that just Japanese art. Actually, he was trying to say that I have learned kung fu, karate, all these things, and the tactics, how to control the animals. I have obtained this all knowledge, all the stuff, skills to manage all these beasts. Sir, karate or Jiu-Jitsu it is called. So it is called karate or Jiu-Jitsu. I had read about it somewhere. It's temporarily paralyze the nervous system. You see, actually, such type of karate or such type of jiu-jitsu, it is a kind of a nervous system which damage the nerve system or make the animal unconscious. So it is a kind of a thing. You have seen in many movies. There is a kind of in many movie, especially Chinese movie, a person just put his one single finger around the neck, so he just put the finger on a neck, and just there is a kind of a point, there is a kind of a nerve which make person unconscious for a while. So he had learned such type of tactics, as human has this what type of nerves or veils here, but to the elephants, this is a kind of a nerve which is on their feet. So if a person hit on their feet, so it becomes unconscious, and a perfect on the perfect way or the perfect nerves. So here, I suggest you, I just request you, I recommended you, don't do such type of activity with your own self or with any kind of animals. It's a act of illegal, it's a act of cruelty, brutality, and I don't want to promote such type of things, but as a teacher, it's my duty to explain you each and every aspects of the chapter. Not a day passed without Iswaran recounting some story. So every day he just passed my day with his one of stories, packed with adventures. His whole story packed full of adventure, horror, and suspense. Whether the story was credible or not, Mahendra enjoyed listening to it because of the inimitable way in which it was told. Inimitable means the extraordinary way he performed his all the gesture of his body, making his face expression when it comes to suspense or when it comes to horror. He just, whether the story is so pathetic, the so boring, but the way he explained it, it gets too much pleasure to the listener, to the Mahindra, to listen his all the story. And inimitable way means extraordinary way. He just performs, he make a normal story very unique, and that's why he is saying that Ishwaran seemed to more than make up for a absence of a TV Mahindra's living quarters. Now here, Iswaran seemed to more than make up for a absence of a TV in Mahindra's living quarters. So here, there is no need of TV because the source we get from the TV as a word which is entertainment. So the presence of Ishwaran is full of entertainment. So there is no any need of TV in his living quarter. One morning, when Mahendra was having breakfast, Ishwaran asked, "Can I make something special for dinner tonight, sir?" So here one day in the time of breakfast, when the Mahendra was having his breakfast, then there was a question asked by the Ishwaran that, "Can I cook something special for the dinner, sir? After all, today is an auspicious day, a very precious day, a very important day. Is according to the tradition, we prepare various delicious to feed the spirits of our ancestors today, sir. So we should prepare such type of food for the memories, for the respect for our ancestors. So we should cook something for our on this traditions day. Maybe this day could be that there is a word that is a kind of a feast which is prepared for the dead ones who were so close to us, father, grandfather, not that time, but it is prepared for the in the daytime. But what type of festival I don't know, but it is that this festival always made for the remembrance of their older ones who are passed away, who are no more there. That night, Mahendra enjoyed the most delicious dinner and complimented Ishwaran on his culinary skills. Culinary means a kind of a that how he present his dish with full of decorated way, with full of tasteful way, which is looks like that he is having a very he is having his dinner in a five-star hotels. That type of test, that type of decoration of his meal present in front of Mahendra, and that he just complimented, he just admire him, he just praised his all the skills. He seemed very pleased, but he seemed very pleased, but unexpectedly launched into a most gracious account involving the supernatural. He was looking not so pleased. He was looking so pleased, but his experience. Now, what happened? He just speak out a different incident. That incident was on the supernatural. My dear students, supernatural are a kind of a activity. If you search in YouTube, you would come to know what is supernatural. It's a little bit a scary word. Supernatural, you means that a person is sleeping on his bed, suddenly the light on. A person who is in his room, suddenly the tap of the tap suddenly the tap on and the water start falling. A person who is just reading the books and suddenly the window closed, shut the window. Such type of paranormal activity, some supernatural activity known as this word. So what type of supernatural uh, based on a story based on supernatural, what he is going to explain? You know, sir, the entire factory area we are occupying was once a burial ground. Now, what he added, he told it is a time of night. They were having a so suspicious dinner, so delicious dinner, and that time he suddenly burst out into a matter and telling his boss, telling his owner that, do you know, sir, the place where this factory is here, where this area where we are living, once in a while, this area is known as a burial land. That people generally, after their death, people just bury inside this land. And he started. Mahendra was jerked out the pleasant revival he had drifted into after the satisfying meal. He was just moved. Jerked out means shivered. He just shocked. And the pleasant of having this satisfying meal was totally ruined. How? I knew on the first day itself, when I saw a human skull lying on the path. Even now I came across a number of skulls and bones. Iswaran continued. Now here, what was he told? He told that one day when I first day when I came when we reached in this place, I personally observed. I saw that what I saw that there was a skull, a human face, the upper part, the beheaded part, was on the path. He saw it, and after that there were many skeletons, many skulls had been observed, were half shrunk in the land, and upper part was out of the land. They were half or they were lying on the path. Many skulls he had seen. Actually, he was saying that this was a place of graveyard, that people generally bury their ancestors, bury their loved ones in this land. It's a kind of a their custom, and many other custom, people just burn the body of the dead man. But here in this custom, people generally just in where earlier time, that people generally dig a piece of land, and then they bury the dead body, and just after that cover it by the sand. So it is a kind of a tradition, a kind of a custom that he was explaining. But now this skull, the a kind of a figure of only a face. There is no ear, there is no eyes, there is no skin, there is no hair. Only the inner part of bones was just he observed. And then he continued. This is the Iswaran and these are the skulls, my dear students. He went on to narrate how he sometimes saw ghosts at night. And also, the Iswaran was saying that sometime, Mahendra, I have also observed the ghost at the night time. I'm not easily frightened by these things, sir. I am a brave fellow, but one horrible ghost of a woman which appears off and on the midnight during the full moon. So what he saw, actually he was saying that I'm a brave person. I'm a very a type of person who do not fear from any natural or paranormal activity. But what I observed, what I saw by my own eyes, by my very eyes, that was in the midnight I saw a horrible ghost of a woman which appears off and on the midnight during the full moon. So it was a full moon night, and in this time I saw a figure of a ghost, a figure of a woman who was in a form of ghost. It is an ugly creature with matted hair. Matted hair means a disgraceful hair, no shine in hair, and shriveled face, dry face, like a skeleton holding a fetus in its arm. Fetus is a newly born baby, and this skeleton, this woman who is in a form of a ghost, was holding in his arm a fetus, a dead baby who is newly born in his arm, in her arms. So that type of scene he saw in the middle night, in the full moonlight. Mahendra shivered. Mahendra suddenly just trembled at the description and interrupted rather sharply. You are crazy, Iswaran. These are no such things as ghosts or spirits. It's all a figment of your imagination. Get your digestive system examined and maybe your head as well. As you are talking nonsense. So here the replied, as this story, this scene really thundered from inside Mahinder. But what he did, he dared and he spoke. What nonsense you are talking about? This is a bullshit. This is a kind of a your lying imagination, your wrong imagination, your false imagination. You are sleeping in your unconscious mind. You are just watch in your unconscious mind. Just do one thing and go to the doctor and check up your whole body, your stomach, as well as your digestive system, as well as your mind as well. And these are the things are not happen. The spirits, ghosts are none in this world. They are just a imagination matter which people generally build just to scare people others. It's a kind of a nothing, just a nonsense. He left the room and retired for the night. Now finally that the Mahinder just left this place and went to his own room, expecting Ishwaran to sulk for a couple of days. But the next morning, he was surprised to find the cook as cheerful, as talkative as ever. But he was expecting that maybe that the way I express, it was little bit a feeling of scolding. So maybe he was hurt, that the Ishwaran was hurt by my these words that go to doctor and check up your mind, as well as you are out of your mind. Maybe he could be upset for me for a couple of days, but next morning he was so cheerful, he was so talkative as he was. He didn't mind my words. That's why he is an asset in my life. That's why the writer, the Mahendra, was saying that this person is so fortunate, this person is so good for me. From the day on, Mahendra, for all his brave talk, went to bed with a certain uneasy. Every night he peered into the darkness. From the day on, Mahendra, for all the brave talks, went to bed with a certain uneasy. Now here, but after this incident, when he explained, when the Ishwaran narrate about a figure of a lady who was holding a newly born baby, a fetus in her arms, and such type of ghost, such type of image which was built by the Ishwaran to in the mind of, or in the eyes of Mahindra. That time he little bit become uncomfortable, little bit become tense by while he was going to sleep. Every night, what he was having a habit of peered. Peered means looked. into the darkness outside through the window next to his bed. Actually, he was used to gaze or used to stare outside, peep outside through the window in the dark, asleep whenever he before sleeping, trying to make sure that there was no movement of dark shapes in the vicinity. So here in the vicinity means that near area there is no any movement, nothing is there, but he could only see a sea of darkness with the twinkling lights of factory miles away. But he couldn't see anything in the dark sea. Now here this word is given a dark sea. Sea is word is given because the dark is so spreaded miles away, far stretching. Things were only the dark sea, and just there was a sprinkle of light which came through the factory. He had always liked to admire the milk white landscape on the full moonlight. So the Mahendra always liked and admire the white, stretchy, dark, or the place which is he found in the moon or full moonlight. In the full moonlight, there is a little bit light outside from his tent, and he loved to see it. But after hearing Iswaran's story of the female ghost, he avoided looking out of his window altogether when the moon was full. But after listening, he had left his this hobby or this habit to see outside after the Mahendra had told him, after the Iswaran had told about this lady, this figure of a ghost. So he started getting scaring, or he was getting so fear while he was sleeping at night time, and he had avoided to see outside from the window as per the story, or as per the kind of incident told by the Iswaran to the Mahendra, and that's why he had stopped looking outside. And one night Mahendra was woken up from his sleep by a moan close to his window. Moan is a kind of a sound, a crying sound. At first, he put it down to a cat prowling around for mouse, and for as in at the beginning, he thought that maybe a cat who was looking for the mouse. That's why he was making a sound of moan. But the sound was too neutral for a cat, and now this sound is not matching because it was the screaming as the baby cry. Such type of sound was coming from that outside from his tent. He resisted means stop the curiosity to look out, lest he should behold a sight which would stop his heart. So what he took, he was stopped the curiosity to look out, and he saw outside, and he should behold a sight which would stop his heart. But the wailing became louder and less feline. Now here, but what happened? The wailing means the crying noise become more and more louder and less feline. Feline is a word which is used for the species of cat. The cat family: lion, tiger, panther, leopard. These all are comes in the category of cat. That's why they are known as cat. But here the Mahendra is saying that these voices are not resembling with the cat noise. It's a really coming a straight and clear voice of a baby, a newly baby, a infant who was recently born, and he was crying very loudly. Such type of louder voice were coming, and that his heart was stopped, and he became so scared. He could not resist. Sorry for the disturbance. He couldn't resist the temptation anymore, so he couldn't attract that his control, his prevention, and lowering himself to the level of window sill, he looked out the white sheet of moonlight outside. So what he said, finally he dared to look outside what's going on. So he saw a layering. He looked outside a white sheet of moonlight outside. A white sheet. Something was in a white sheet was looking outside. There, not too far away, was a dark, cloudy form clutching a bundle. So what he saw, there was there outside. What he observed, there was something, a white type of figure was there, which was clutching, means holding a bundle. And this picture seems same as the storyteller had told him, the servant had told him, that there is a lady who just hold a baby in her arms. Or such type of scene was being observed by the Mahindra. Mahinder broke into a cold sweat. He was got so scared. Cold sweat means scared, and fell back on the pillow and went back to same his bed, panting, taking too much heavy breath. He was out of breath, so he was taking long breath. As he gradually recovered from the ghastly experience, ghastly means that scaredful, this paranormal activity, this supernatural activity, such type of scene, as he got recovered, began to reason with himself. Finally concluded that it must have been some sort of auto suggestion, and he was just concluded that it was his own mind imagination. Nothing was outside, some trick that his subconscious had played on him. Subconscious means, my dear student, that there is a two part of mind: conscious mind and unconscious mind. Conscious mind means, like me and right now you all are paying concentration on me. I'm teaching you with full of concentration, that my mind is alert and your mind is alert. That is conscious mind. Unconscious mind means when we stop thinking about our surrounding, about any matter. And when it happens when we are sleeping, at the time of dozing, at the time of sleeping. That time our mind become unconscious. So that's why he is saying that actually it is all kind of imagination. When I was sleeping, also such type of dream, which I feel that it is happened really, but actually it's a kind of a dream, a nightmare. That's why he is just little bit scared, and he got concluded that nothing is there, such type of things. By the time he got up in the morning, so after having this scary full dream or nightmare, he woke up in the morning, had a bath, and came out to have his breakfast. And finally he had come to on his dining table to have his breakfast. The horror of the previous night had faded from his memory. Faded means that the last time he got scared, now such type of last incidents, what happened in the night time, all memories about this incident got fed up, got disappeared, got disillusioned from his mind. Iswaran greeting him at the door with his lunch packed and his bag. And now finally the Iswaran came while holding his bag and lunch, and gave it to him. Just as Mahinder was stepping out, Iswaran grinned and said, when the Mahinder was about to leave his place, when he put his feet outside of his tent, then suddenly he was stopped by the most by the smiling face of Iswaran. Sir, remember the other day when I was telling you about the female ghost with the fetus in its arm? You were so angry with me for imagining things. You remember, sir? One night I was telling you about a story about that I have been caught by many times by a woman wandering outside in this deserted area while holding a infant in her arms. And that time you will get so angry by my this imagination things. Well, you saw her yourself last night. I came running, hearing the sounds of mourning that was coming from your room. Mourning means a sound of crying. And I heard that the sound was coming outside from your home, inside from your room, and I knew that you have seen a such type of ghost last night. And I have seen by my own eyes and by my own ear that the sound was coming from your room. And I hope that you have seen a such type of character or such type of ghost. A chill went down Mahinder's spine. there was a cold, there was a chilled air came in her whole body. He didn't wait for Ishwaran to complete his sentence. He hurried away to his office and handed in his papers. Now, what he happened, and he just hurried away. That who? The Mahinder. Mahinder left this place very fastly and holding his all papers in his hand, resolving to leave the haunted place the very next day. And what he did, he came in this conclusion that it is better to leave this place as soon as possible. It is better to leave this place as far as possible, because this place is so haunted, so scary. So that's why he told it. Thank. What happened, dear students? The Mahinder had left this place. He found that it is better to leave this place because this is so scary. As per the story, as per the incident, first he was not believing by the story which told by the Iswaran, but now he had seen by himself last night, and now this is the proof that Iswaran had told. So he told that it is better to leave this place. Now move to the question answer of the chapter, which is so interesting as well as it's important as well as. In what way is Iswaran an asset to Mahindra? Mahindra Ishwaran is considered an asset for Mahindra just because of he was a cook. He was playing a job of cook, washing his clothes, and at the night time he chatted a different stories, explain and describe in a very dramatic way. That's why he is so helpful and so kind to the Mahindra. That's why. How does Ishwaran describe the uprooted tree on the highway? What effect does he want to create in his listeners? So, as per the incidents we have come through, that there is a tree uprooted and lie on the highway, but the way he expressed in a very dramatic way, by his eyebrows stretched and stretch his hand outside and making a posture that earlier it was looking like a ghost, a enormous ghost was lying, and his hands were outside, stretched outside. But for a little he thought that go back, but when he came to near, it was just nothing, just a tree which is fall on the on the road. And that affects the way he express, as he illustrate the incident in such a way which looks like that everybody got stuck, everybody got stunned for a minute, that what is going to be happen next, because in this way of explanation is full of suspense, full of thrill, full of adventure. That's why everybody got stuck and listened to it very carefully. How does he narrate the story of the tusker? Does it appear to be plausible? Plausible means believable. Now, how does he narrate the story of tusker? Tusker is, my dear students, elephant. So when a elephant was got mad and left the timber yard and went into the town, and he was just, it was destroying all the bushes, all the branches, all the trees into under his feet, and then he just broken down the wall of his school playground, and this, and also ruining the whole objects whatever come in his own path, whether it is a volleyball, whether it is a football courtyard, everything he was destroying. Even the water tank was there, he just kicked it and smashed it into pieces. And then there was, everybody was scared by the bulliness, by the so haunting way, the haunting form of this beast was so terrible for the people. But he dared to face out with this giant. And what he did, he just took the one of stick by the hands of his teacher and just attacked on his toenail of his foot. And after that there was a shiver on the elephant, and then he just fell down on the ground. That's the way he explained about the tusker. But this, it looks so so inappropriate because he was studying in junior classes, and as being a young fellow, it is very hard to control on a wild animal such like elephant, because it is out of the reaches of its own mahout. So how a person can control who is not his mahout, or not his teacher or the mentor? So that's why it is very hard to digest this story. Now the next question is fourth number question. Why does the author say that Iswaran seemed to more than make up for the absence of a TV in Mahindra's living quarter? As there is no requirement of television, because the Mahindra servant Iswaran is a kind of a person who entertain him a lot by by giving him a matter, by telling him a different stories of his own experience. And the way he explained in this story, everything can be observed: the drama, adventure, action, thrill, everything is there. So there is no requirement of looking into deep into kind of technology, television, or such type of equipments, because the way he expressed is heart beating, heart attached with the story. And as we people watch the television special movie, we just associated ourselves with this scene of movie, with the whole movie, 3 hours of movie. So same happening with it. The way he explained, it looks like that he is a real hero in this story, and the way he expressed was really amazing. And it's a full of pleasureful chatting with him. So that's why he is saying Mandra calls ghost or spirits a figment of imagination. What happens to him on a full moon night? Earlier, Mandra called ghost or spirits a figment of the imagination. What happens to him on a full moon night? Earlier, he that after telling the story, after telling one of incident about the ghost told by the Iswaran to Mahindra. Mahindra told that such type of imagination, such type of incident are creating of your mind. Such type of spirits, such type of ghosts are not exist in this world. This is our mind illusion. As you have told him, as you told me that you have seen a ghost, a woman ghost who was carrying its baby, infant, which is not digestible. But what happened one moonlight, the next moonlight, what happened in the night time, he had seen a kind of a foamy cloud who was holding a bundle. It looks like looks like when he saw outside from the window, when because he was disturbed, he was awakened by the sound of cat, by the sound of groaning, that something was crying very loudly, someone is crying very loudly, and these voices were similar with the voices of a child and infant. Earlier he thought that it might be a cat, but after he realized that this is not a sound of cat. So when he saw outside that, then he saw a figure of lady who was holding something in her arms. So that's the thing, that's the incident happened with him on a full moonlight. Can you think some of the ending for the story? Can you think of some other ending for the story? Yes, I can think, because that Mahinder found the conclusion of the end is to leave the place as soon as possible, as this place was so haunted, so same. But if I would be at his place, if somebody would be at his place, then his duty is to take an initiative to look forward into this matter, that was it real happening, such type of things were really in this world existing, or it's just a humor, it's just a mindset of our mind, that if such thing is there, then he had to leave. This is the really real meaning. But if something is there, so if there is nothing, maybe his own servant making a such type of illusion, or he might be outside from the window in the dark, or trying to scare, trying to frighten